afternoon and good evening to you. It's gonna make a bit of a tube. Hope you're all doing everything grand and all's well in your world. Hello there. Welcome to another Q&A Wednesday, everybody. Let's get started, shall we? Question 1 today is it better to use an effects loop or go straight into the front of an amp with pedals, or is it best? And what pedals are best to use in effects loops? Right. The whole which is better comes down to you, really, because you never know. You might like to. You might find you like to run distortions through the effects loop. So what I would say is, neither's better, neither's worse. Just experiment. Just play around. Just see what you prefer, and see which one, like, you know, gives the sound you want. Like I say, if running a distortion pedal through the effects loop instead of running it into a front end of the amp works better for you, then do that. But there's no way you're gonna know that until you kind of like mess around with it. To answer your last bit, which pedals work are best to use in the loop? I mean, most people I know use pedals like delay and reverbs and stuff like time-based stuff, really kind of used for effects loops. It makes them cleaner. I personally don't really like using effects loops for delay. I kind of like them a bit a bit distorted and a bit kind of like dirty sounding, and not really particularly clean sounding. I don't know why. There's something in the sound of a distorted delay that I really like, and reverb as well. I like the reverb to kind of distort as well if I'm using like a pedal reverb or whatever. It doesn't really happen when you're using reverb on an amp, but the only pedal I ever run for an effects loop is my looper. That way I can get a clean loop instead of it kind of like distorting and going all funny when I kick over the pedals on. If I find that if I run my looper through an effects loop, it gives me a lot cleaner loop, and I can play over them with loads of different effects, and it'll never muddy it and never distort it. But yeah, I mean, either's good. You know, running through effects loop or running through the front end, it doesn't matter. It's all about what works for you, and you need to find that out, like, you know, just by, like I say, just by experimenting and just kind of like feeling your way through it and trying pedals through it and going, oh no, I don't like that, or oh yeah, that's ace, I'm going to do that. And you know, and just seeing what works for you more than anything. Just play, just have fun with it. You know, there's no rules to whether, you know, that pedal can go in the front end or the effects loop. You know, you can do what you want. You really can do what you want. There is no rule book when it comes down to any of that stuff. So, yeah, I would say just play around. That would be my advice to you. Would be, you know, just play around with all sorts of different effects into the effects loop and into the front end as well, and see which one you prefer, see which one you like the sound of more. You know, just see what you prefer. You know, just see what works, what doesn't work. But like I say, I mean, the only pedal I run through my effects loop is my ditto loop. But other than that, everything's in the front end. I like things in the front end, like delays and reverbs, stuff that people normally kind of like put in effects loop. I like kind of to put in the front end to kind of to warp them a little bit. I don't like things perfectly clean, especially with delays and reverbs and stuff. I definitely prefer it a little bit more distorted. So yeah, that's what I would say to that. But I say, if you got a looper, using a looper, definitely use the effects loop. You can use the front end for a looper, but it makes things a little difficult. Whereas if you're running it through an effects loop, it makes it a lot easier and a lot cleaner. So yeah. But yeah, like I say, just experiment, just have fun with it, just play about, see what works, see what doesn't work. But yeah, I hope that's answered your question though. Like I say, there's no rules. There's no rules to the guitar. Do what you want. Just find what works for you and do that. And no one can ever tell you which wrong if it works for you. You know, because it isn't. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to move on to question 2 now today. Which is, I've been playing for a bit over a year, and I was wondering what you feel is the best way to progress. Should I keep learning songs and learning songs by ear, and practice improvisation and theory? Yeah, all them. The number one thing, though, I would recommend is learning songs. I always say it, but learning songs, I think, is the number one way to get better. And playing along with records is the number one way to get better, because you're putting theoretical and practice to into a practical way. Instead of it just being theoretical and you sitting there practicing your scales and learning theory, which is all well and good, don't get me wrong, it's really cool. But when you're playing along to an album of songs and it comes to a solo and you're improvising a solo or you're doing their solo, then you're putting all this, knowledge you've got in your head into a practical sense. Instead of it just being theoretical, it's all practical, and you're using it instead of it just being kind of like sat at the side. So learning songs, I think, is the key to getting better at playing guitar. Just learn as many songs as you can, front to back, every part. You know, every guitar part you can. You know, just learn it all and just go nuts with it. Because I really feel that's the kind of the most important thing. And also, learning songs by ear. That's important as well. You need to kind of like practice learning songs by ear, like listening to a chord progression, going right, well, where is that, and then trying to figure it out on your guitar just by using your ears, because that will then give you the ability to hear what you want to play internally and then get it out externally. Good gravy. That was a bit complex, but hopefully it makes sense. If you can use your ears to hear things, you can invariably play them. If you can hear it, you can play it, kind of thing. So, you know, you'll eventually get to that point where if you can hear a song in your head, you'll be able to figure it out without actually having to reference the song. You'll just be able to pick up a guitar and go, no, that doesn't sound right. Oh, there it is. You know, eventually you'll be able to kind of get that kind of thing going. But learning songs is key. I really do. Learning songs by ear, you know, is key as well. Learning songs from tab isn't bad. Learning songs from ear is better. Really, it's hard work and it takes ages, but it's worth it in the long run. But yeah, practice. You know, improvisation and theory. I mean, they're all good alleys to go down as well. But theory is what it is, and improvisation comes in. You know, you need to. Improvisation needs to come from practical usage of theory. You know, you're not gonna better your theoretical knowledge just by studying a book. You know, it's like learning. I always say it's like learning the alphabet. If you learn, you know, you learn A, B, C, D, E, F, G, blah, 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 blah. You know, but now you've got to make words out of it. And the same goes to the guitar. Just because you know your five positions of your pentatonic scale, or your modes, or whatever, and you know the neck up and down, now you need to be able to use what you know on this in a practical way to create music. You know, to create melodies and songs and just things that people can grip onto and affect people. You know, depending on what the song is you're doing and what you want to achieve in that song. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, learning songs is really, really mega important. I can't stress that enough. Learning songs front to back as well, not just riffs of your favourite song. Oh, I like that riff, but I don't like the rest of the song. It's like, well, no, if you learn that riff, learn the song. There'll be something in it, something else you'll find that you'll like, trust me. But yeah, that's really important. You also asked too, is like, what level should you be at before looking to start playing in a band? That really comes down to your confidence more than anything. If you can bash through songs with those power chords and like just rhythm playing, you know, with good timing, good feel, and like, you know, a good kind of sense of, you know, good sense of like, you know, where the song's going to go, like dynamically and, you know, and all sorts of things, then, you know, then if you're confident enough, then go for it. Depending on it, you know, if you've been playing over a year and you feel confident enough that you can kind of play rhythm or lead, you know, to an extent, then just go for it. It all really comes down to how confident you are at the end of the day with your playing. You know, if you're really confident and you feel that you can do it, go and do it. Go and try and do it, because playing in a band and playing live is the number one learning experience. You learn a lot by playing live. You learn a lot of how to deal with mistakes, how to kind of deal with, you know, mess ups, how to deal with gear failure, guitar failure, string breakages, all sorts of stuff. So that really comes down to your confidence level, really. But if you feel confident, go for it. If you don't feel confident, wait till you do. You know, it's really an internal thing. You'll know, you'll feel it when you're ready, so to say. So yes. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question too. I mean, like I say, learning songs is the number one way to get better at guitar, I believe. But I mean, me personally, that's what I did personally. I just learnt songs. I learned so many songs front to back and all sorts of different guitar solos and just loads of stuff. And I feel that's the best way. But you know, that worked for me. It might not necessarily work for you. So you know, just bear that in mind. But learning by ear and learning songs all the way through and playing things and putting things into a practical way is really, 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 really important. So So I hope I answered your question. Move on to question 3 now, which is maple or rosewood fretboard. Which one do you prefer? Both. I've got to say, yeah, I mean, I like both. The Revelations have a lignum rosa fretboard, so it's not rosewood or maple. It's this, it's a different kind of wood, and it's really lovely, and it's really smooth. It's almost like a cross between rosewood and ebony in a way. It's very strange because ebony's an incredibly mad fretboard, like really shiny and really kind of like smooth and glossy. But yeah, I'm not really fussy when it comes down to fretboards. I mean, I think certain guitars look better with certain necks, if that makes any sense. Like maple necks don't suit burst Les Pauls, in my opinion. You know, I don't like the look of it. You know, and like, you know, stuff like that. It's just weird like that. But and like on Telecasters, if you've got a blonde Telecaster, I don't like the look of a rosewood neck on it. I like maple necks on, like, you know, on those old kind of yellowed Telecasters. But if it's a sunburst Telecaster, I think a rosewood looks better. But again, I'm not. That's nitpicking. That's just kind of like finding things. But you know, if somebody gave me an old Telecaster with a rosewood neck on a blonde body, you know, I wouldn't be like going, well, I really wanted a maple neck, so can you just take that back and check? You know, it wouldn't. I wouldn't. You know, I wouldn't be kicking up a stink about it, as I say. So I don't really mind, really, what the fretboard is. As long as I can play the guitar, I'm a happy bunny. Really. I remember reading, when I was at Old Hat, we got John Entwistle's from The Who. We got his 1962 Fender Strat in, and it was Fiesta Red, like pristine condition, 62 Strat. In all fairness, it wasn't even that good of a guitar. I mean, personally, I didn't really like it. It felt okay, but subsequent vintage Strats that I've played, even 70s CBS Strats, I thought sounded and played better than that guitar. But it came with a book called, I don't remember what book it was. It was John Entwistle's book on his guitar collection and his bass collection. And it said, as a side note about the 62 Strat, that he would have preferred a maple neck. But, you know, I suppose it's to each their own. But like, me personally, I'm not fussy when it comes down to fretboard material. As long as I can play the guitar, I'm happy. But if you're going to give me the choice, then I'll think long and hard about it. Like, for instance, the Oswald Strat here. This had to have a maple neck because I wanted a 50s style Strat like John Frusciante's 55. So it had to have a maple neck. It was never going to be a rosewood neck on this guitar. So yeah, I mean, fussy in a way, fussy in not ways. Fussy in a way, but not fussy in other ways. That's what I wanted to say. You're so clever, Dave. Well done. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, like I say, it varies. I mean, I don't mind. Really, I think it's more comes down to aesthetics of how things look. But, yeah, I don't know. Two-tone sunbursts look really cool with maple necks. Three-tone sunbursts look really cool with rosewood necks. But three-tone sunbursts, some of the like 58, 59 Strats with two-tone sunbursts and rosewood necks look, like maple necks look amazing. Yeah. I don't know. People of the tube, what is your favourite neck and why? Is it rosewood or maple? Or is it ebony? Or is it some other kind of mad wood? Banana skins. I don't know. People of the tube, what is your favourite neck? Fretboard, even. Anyway, I hope that's answered your question. I actually plan to answer that one question. It's like, I don't mind, but I kind of rambled on and got a bit distracted by myself. Anyway, move on to question 4 now, everybody. Question 4. Do you find it difficult going from a guitar with 21 frets to 22 or 24? You said you find it kind of messes you about a bit. Not really, no. 24 is a little weird. I used to have an Ibanez, which I wish I hadn't got rid of. I used to have an Ibanez Geo that had 24 frets, but it never felt weird to kind of go to that guitar and play it. I never felt kind of out of a comfort zone with it, really. And it's the same going like from a Strat to like a Les Paul, or a Strat with, I say, 21 frets to a Strat with 22 frets. I used to find it a bit weird. But I don't know. I don't know if I got. I don't want to say I got used to it, because one day someone will give me a 24 fret guitar and I'll be like, "What am I doing?" And I'll just be a contradiction. But my guitars that I've got from most of the main guitars I play have got 21 frets, like Mr. Oswald here is 21, right? 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, 20. I can count. Most of my guitars have 21 frets. The only guitars that don't are my Les Pauls and my vintage Strat and my Jaguar and the Revelations. But most of my Strats have this many frets. But I don't really find it any different going from this to, say, Les Paul to be 22, or a Strat with 22, or my Jaguar. I think I've just got used to my guitars with that many frets. Maybe if I pick up a 24 fret guitar now, it might be a bit weird for a few days or a few hours playing it. Like going, whoa, I've got that many more frets down here. But no, I mean, I don't really find it difficult, because I think it's mainly because I navigate the guitar neck in shapes. So I'll start off with like a minor pentatonic shape, and I'll just kind of like find and feel my way through it that way. So and then that way I'll never get lost. So yeah, I don't really find it difficult. I mean, that might sound a bit weird, but I don't really find it difficult going from 21 to 22 to 24. Really, I've played a lot of guitars with varying degrees of frets. I've been very lucky enough to play a lot of guitars with lots of varying degrees of frets. So I'm very lucky in that sense. And I think through doing that for all those years, especially when I was at Old Hat, has kind of like got me used to it, so to say. So I'm kind of like no longer as weirded out, so to say, when a guitar's got 24 frets or 22. So yeah, I mean, I don't really find it difficult to go from either one. I do find it a little strange with neck width, like on the back, from fret, like that way. If a guitar's got a really kind of thin neck and I go to like a really fat neck, that takes a little bit of adjusting. But and the same with kind of widths of fretboards, like a Les Paul width on a fretboard is wider than a Strat. But fret-wise now, I don't really, like I say, because I navigate in shapes and stuff like that, and because of that, like I always kind of like I'm always kind of able to find my way or revert back to the original shape I started at. Yeah, I don't really find it too difficult, really. But I did used to, but you know, like I said, I've been very lucky enough to play quite a lot of guitars with different kind of, you know, fret lengths and all sorts of other stuff, neck lengths and whatnot. So yeah, I don't really find it that difficult. People with a tube, do you find it difficult to switch from a 21 fret guitar to a 22 or a 24 fret? Or if you have a 24 fret, do you find it difficult to switch to a 22 or a 21 neck? You know, which one, you know, and why? So let me know what you think, people with a tube. But yeah, I hope that's answered your question. Yeah, is there anything else? No, there's nothing else I can really say on that. But yes, people with a tube, let me know what you think. So, moving on to question 5 now. I need a prompt. Back in a minute. Okay, so question 5 is, do you have any tips on how to visualize the neck so you're able to make big jumps while improvising, and how to improve standing up and playing? Okay, so tips to how to visualize the neck. Right, I need my little book for this. This is how I see the guitar neck, like that. Hopefully you'll be able to kind of see, but it's all shapes and they all have different colours. So, for instance, what is it? So, the minor pentatonic is blue. And the major pentatonic is red. And the other positions are different colours. But that's how I see the guitar neck when I think about playing. Or if I'm kind of analysing what I do or how I do it. That's what I'll see. That's the guitar neck. That's broken down. And that's all. And also, they're the shapes that you can see. And also, the dots are all the notes you can... all the notes that you can use in any key. So, for instance, the top one... there, that's E minor and G major covered. So that's what you can use in those keys, and that's how I see the guitar neck. That's how I've always been kind of very visual with the way I kind of learn. Being dyslexic, that's kind of the way I kind of see things. So that's how I see the guitar neck. But again, that works for me. It might not work for you. But what I would say is, if you want to make big jumps, stick to your minor pentatonic. Like, for instance, if you're kind of soloing in, say, A minor, just A minor pentatonic, so you got your... you got your A minor pentatonic there, and then you got your second position A minor, and then third position. You can jump from your third position to your first position. So if you start off down here with a kind of wild, screamy guitar solo and then jump down to here, that's a big jump. So try start by doing something like that. So for instance, like you could try doing something like that, where you're jumping from position 3 to position 1. Is there anything else? Yeah, I mean, and also visualising the neck. I can't really say visualise it in shapes, because that, like I say, that's how I see it, but that might not necessarily work for you. And I spoke about this recently in my Rory Gallagher video, the last one that I did with the Rory Gallagher video, kind of unlocking the neck, it's called. But that's where I would start. Start by just jumping around with your minor pentatonic up and down the neck. So go from really drastically, really high to really low, or go from really low to really high. And just begin to kind of create a map in your head of where you are. And eventually you won't need that, and you'll just go by feel alone. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's quite difficult to say. But yeah, it's quite difficult because everyone learns differently. So what I've just said might not work for you. So don't hurt me if it doesn't. But no, it's one of those things where because we're all individual, we're all different. I'm not. No, I'm not. Anyway, we all learn differently. We all see the guitar differently. We all have to learn in our own individual way. So there's not one way I can say go and do this and this and this, and it'll work for you 100%. There's always going to be something that doesn't quite work for you. So yeah, just try that. Try jumping. Like say for instance A minor. Just try jumping from one shape to another, up and down the neck, and then move to B, and then do the same thing with B, and then do it in G, and then start to kind of like add different scale shapes, like your major scale, like in there, and jump from major scale to major scale, and eventually you'll kind of build up this map of the guitar neck in your own way. Like I say, that's the guitar to me. That's what it is. If I'm coming from a theoretical and kind of like kind of thingy standpoint, that's the guitar neck. All these different chords and all these different shapes. That's what I see when I look at the guitar if I'm teaching. Not really when I'm playing. Sometimes when I'm playing, it comes into my head. If I get lost. Like, if I'm kind of like just kind of lost in a moment, and if I get lost in a moment and all of a sudden kind of brain just kind of like goes, meh, and clicks on, and I'll start analysing things. But normally that's when things go a bit awry, if my brain clicks on. I don't normally like to let my brain interfere when I'm playing. I just like to kind of let it flow. But But if I'm kind of like trying to figure something out, a guitar solo, or just kind of just coming up guitar parts, these are normally kind of like, you know, that's what I see. That's kind of what I do. Or if somebody says, oh, the song's in, E minor, for instance, all these shapes will then kind of log themselves in, and I know exactly where I can go and where I can't go. So, and that's why I drew this out. It's just a little reference for me, and I might do a video on that one day, maybe, and just show you all the different keys and show you how it works. Because the guitar neck is nothing but a puzzle. It's just a puzzle. All the pentatonic shapes and all the modes and all that lot are just puzzle pieces that once you know them and you can put them together, the guitar is your oyster, basically. So, I hope that's answered your question. Any more tips on playing standing up is really just do it as much as you can. But, I don't like sitting down and playing. I find it like, I spoke about this in another Q&A. I just find it hinders me. I don't really like it so much. But guitar height is a real big thing. You need to be able to find the guitar height that works for you. It's really important to be comfortable when you stand up with guitar so you can play properly and you're not going to struggle. So if I mean the guitar needs to be around your ankles, do that. If it needs to be around your neck, like that, then do that. But, you need to find that's just something you need to mess with your strap and just kind of like find where it sits the best and most comfy. So, but yeah, try standing up and playing as much as possible. Sitting down and playing is all well and good, but if you're going to gig, you're not going to be sat down, so you need to stand up. So, and if you stand up, you can move. And music moves you, so you need to be able to move. You need to be able to kind of like sway and move and rock backwards and forwards and all sorts of other stuff. I find myself kind of doing this weird kind of like backwards and forwards thing when I play live and whatnot. But yeah, I hope that's answered your question. Yeah, I really hope that's answered your question. I'm a bit worried I haven't answered that one very well. So yeah, I hope that's giving something. At least I hope there's something in there that that's helpful in my ramblings. Okay, so I'm going to move on to final question of the day. Question 6 is: have you ever tried the previous generation of smaller orange combo amps like the CR35 LDX? And were the built-in effects any good? We had, when I worked at Old Hat, we had some of the Crush Picks, the PIX guitars, amps. The old Crush amps with the built-in effects in there. And in my opinion, this is only my opinion, having those inbuilt effects made that amp superior to the new Crush, because the effects were brilliant. They had amazing reverbs, they had amazing delays, choruses, flanges, phasers. They had the effects were awesome. There was one reverb that was just heavenly. It was massive. And I've only ever played through one other amp that had that reverb, and it was a Marshall AVT head. But the Crush, the older Crush amps had these effects. And when they came out with the CR120, I wish they had that in the CR120. Because it would have made the CR120 ridiculously versatile. Because you'd have had loads of effects built in. And I wish it had it. And I wish the CR60 had it. And I wish all the new Crush series had those built-in effects, because they were absolutely brilliant. And I don't understand why they got rid of them. I don't understand it, because they were amazing. They really were amazing. And in all fairness, I want one. I want one of the 35s, because I think that was the highest wattage they did with the built-in effects was the 35s. And again, I'm not sure why they didn't put them into the CR120. It's like the MG then, because the MG's obviously got built-in effects and they're really usable, really cool effects. I would really love the CR120, if it ever gets kind of redesigned, to have those multi-effects in it, because they were amazing. And also like a mid-range dial on the clean channel. No, I'm not pushing for too much here. Anyway, but yeah. Actually, my dream CR120 would actually be two channels, both being the dirty channel. One channel with less gain, one channel with basically just the bog standard dirty channel of the CR120. Reverb, and then also those effects from the older Crush series built in. And also 2 volumes, so you can have one volume as kind of like a rhythm and one as a boost, and it all foot switchable. So like you got a 4-way foot switch with like, you know, reverbs, effects, channel select, and a boost. That would make like, you know, the most amazing amp in the world to me. Because then you wouldn't need effects pedals. You know, maybe a wah pedal would be all you'd need. That's all I would want. It'd be amazing. Or maybe a DS2. I don't think I could live up with a wah pedal and a DS2. I absolutely adore those. But yeah, I mean, I love them. I really did love them. I really want the 35, but it's really hard to find them. Really weird. I don't know. It's like, if they didn't sell very well, you'd thought they'd be everywhere, but they're really, really not. They're not. But I can't find one. I've never been able to find one anywhere near me that I could go and buy. But yeah, the effects were brilliant. Absolutely, the reverbs and the delays and everything about them. I did a video actually with that really awesome reverb effect when I was at Old Hat. I called it Flying with a Penguin because I used a Gretsch white penguin. And it was just something I just came up with on the spot with this reverb thing. And it was just really washed out and really big and spacey. And it just sounded amazing. So yeah, they were brilliant. And I'm not sure why Orange got rid of them. I really don't understand. It made, like I said, I think they're superior because they sound just as good as the ones these days without those effects, but they had the versatility of having extra things, not just reverb. You had delays, you had choruses, you had all sorts. So I don't really know why Orange did that, and you know, they were far superior in my opinion because of that. And like I say, if the CR120, if it had built-in effects, would be immense, absolutely immense. But yeah, I have tried them and they are amazing. So if you can find one and pick one up for a decent price, get it, because the effects are awesome, especially the reverbs. Ridiculously good. Anyway, I hope that's answered your question. I hope I answered all your questions well enough today. I hope so. I'm always worried that I've completely fluffed it. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the Q&A Wednesday, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the crazily long intro jam that went on for about 4 minutes or something like that. It's this guitar's fault. You pick it up and it just inspires you to just come out with some amazing things. It's all the guitar. That's one thing I love about guitars is when they inspire you. I don't like picking a guitar and it's just like me. You know, this guitar is just constantly an inspiration when you pick it up. Anyway, shut up, Dave. I don't know. I'm waffling on again, everybody. Stop looking at the guitar. Right. I can't see it now. I've lost my mind, everybody. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. Have a great morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Slow down. And I will see you again on Friday for another video. I think. Yes, hopefully this Friday. I know I'm getting... we're getting new internet put in on the house, I think, this Friday. So I'm not sure. But hopefully I'll get a video up this Friday. If it's not this Friday, it'll be this Saturday. And I've also got a gig on Friday, so I don't know yet. But yeah, it'll be either this Friday or this Saturday. I'll stick a new video out. But anyway, it's going to be an interesting one, I think. I've recently had my vintage Lemon Drop modded, but I'll talk about that more on Friday or Saturday's video. So, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope I've answered your questions okay. I really do. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again very, very soon for another one. Goodbye now.